In case you guys missed it, we kind of got into it a little bit. By we, I mean black women, because we all know what happened when that girl posted that her man cheated and that he cheated on her. She was a Latina girl. He cheated on her with a bigger black woman. And it got me to thinking, this whole time we've been talking about how black women, aren't the preference, and how these women think they have one over us because these certain women think they have one on us because they're preferred. But if you think about it, black women are preferred by like every culture. Do you know how many Hispanic men have hit on me? How many Middle Eastern men have hit on me? White men. I used to work at a beauty supply. The owner was Korean. That man used to hit on me. And of course, our black men, the ones that get it, yes, our black men love us. But when we think about our counterparts, I don't think they're like internationally like that. Now, granted, everybody has their preferences in every culture, but black women are loved by everybody. All kind of different men. Did I say Italians? Oh, Italian men love black women. My neighbor right now, my neighbor Tony is Italian. Every time I come out this house, Tony trying to get me. He don't care if I got coal in my eye, if I'm crusty. He don't care. So stop letting them make you think black women are not preferred, okay? Black women just tend to have this loyalty to our men. But when you think about it, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with liking what you like. Again, when I see black women in interracial relationships, they are being treated well. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to get treated well or whatever, but when you look at it, majority of these women are getting treated well. There's so many interracial couples on here that I see on TikTok where the black woman is just being treated so well. It's so sweet, and she's happy and she's thriving. So it's kind of weird to say that we're not the preference and that, we're difficult, but the very things that people say are difficult about us are the very things that these other men and these other cultures love and appreciate about us. Meanwhile, some, not all, but there's a good portion of women that are in interracial relationships with, certain types of black males, and they're treating you guys like dirt. So maybe I said all that to say, black women, go where you're loved, go where you're wanted, go where you're valued. And it seems to me like you have a lot of options, but that's just my opinion.
If you've been following me for a while or you've seen some of my videos, you probably already know this answer. I've kind of addressed it in the past. But if you're new, you could probably take a guess, but I'm going to explain why my preference is what it is. First of all, ever since I was a young kid, I've been accepted into the black community. Ever since 4th grade when I was little, I was around that all the time. And so being around that all the time, you see the love and genuine care they have for one another. And all the black women in my life are so loving, caring, and took me in and loved me for who I was. And in my life, all the white women, when it comes to schools or whatever, they see what I'm passionate about. They see how I talk, who I hang out with, and they try to ridicule me. They don't want me to be myself. And there's a much higher chance that I'm going to connect to somebody whose views are more like mine. Like, I'm passionate about Black Lives Matter and standing up against racism. It's very rare that a white girl is going to be cool with that or even support me on that. There's a much higher chance that I can be supported by a black queen and that she's going to support and be passionate about what I'm passionate about. Not saying I would never date another race or never have, but I gravitate towards black women.
I want y'all to read this comment right here. They just want to play with you. Just play with you behind closed doors. Let me say this. As an African American woman who has had more relationships with palm-colored men than I have with men of my own ethnicity, I can tell you this is not true. And I really wish we could get to a place where we can be 100% honest on this app. Because this right here is the exception. It's not the rule. Did y'all know that African American women and palm-colored men have the lowest divorce rate? They are the most successful couple. The black woman and palm-colored man, they last longer than any other couple. Did you guys know that? I want you to do your own research so you can see that for yourself. And when we talk about fetishization, we have to be really honest about what that really means. Because the men in my community, the men who look like me, fetishize us more than anybody else. Did y'all know that? And you want to know how we know that the men in my community fetishize us more than anybody else? Because they don't want to get married. And they have no problem making babies that a lot of them just don't want to take care of. So when I say that I personally have had more relationships with these type of men versus the men who look like me, that should tell you everything you know about how the men in my community fetishize me more than these types of men. Because these types of men actually have been in relationships with me. I've lived with these types of men, dated, been in serious relationships with these types of men, been around the families of these types of men, moved to an entire state to be with this type of man. Are you kidding me? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't met men who look like this, who fetishized women like me. I've met plenty of them. Did I date them? No. The men who look like this that I was in relationships with did not fetishize me. I knew their whole families. They took care of me. They provided and protected. So this narrative that that's just the norm for these types of men is false. And stop spreading that, please. What I preach on this page is for women who look like me to date the best man. Stop looking at color, period. Don't even worry about color. If you are a heterosexual black woman, you need to be dating all groups of men. Because at the end of the day, every man is going to fetishize you, sweetie. We're beautiful. I don't have an issue with that. The issue I have is what type of man is actually going to provide and protect for you? What type of man is more likely to provide and protect? And in my experience and in other experiences of women who look like me, it ain't the men who look like us. It's these type of men. So this narrative is not true for the collective. Are there exceptions where this may fit? Yes, but not for the collective. Black women, please continue to date the best man. Whether he is black, white, blue, or Asian, it doesn't matter. Date the best man.